be back. Well, well, well. What's going on, guys? Stinky starts a war. I've noticed that these MAGAs are saying that they're disappointed in Stinky because he started a war, because he got into this war. But I don't know why. I have no idea why they are disappointed because he said it. He said it, and they turned around and elected him. He said that he wanted Netanyahu to finish the job. Now, what did he mean by finish the job? Huh? What do you mean by finishing the job? That. And to be honest with you, do you think that them dropping those bombs actually finished the job? Because last night, he was with, he came out and spoke. Well, he came out and uttered because he tried to sound out a couple four-syllable words like he couldn't pronounce uranium. He couldn't tell the difference between Iran and uranium because he's a fucking idiot, right? And you know what's even worse? The three people behind him, do you have confidence in them? You had the couch fucker, right? The opportunist who is just sitting there waiting for Stinky to croak. And you had the midget idiot Klingon sellout, right? The guy with the radar ears, Marco Rubio, who sold out his Cuban compadres, those fucking idiots that will vote for Donald Trump. Look at you now. And the drunk. Now, you could even ask MAGA, did that instill confidence in their decisions? Of course it didn't. But you see, he was going to do this the whole time because the bombs that they delivered could only be delivered by our bombers. So this was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. When. And now MAGA, remember during the campaign, forever war. MAGA was like, oh, Biden's gonna get us in a forever war and blah 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 and blah blah blah. Bullshit. And Ukraine, who was fighting an aggressor, they thought that we were spending too much money on that. But Iran was coming to the table. First of all, before that, why did he tear up the nuclear agreement that Obama made? Because they were not enriching any uranium after that. Why? Because Obama did it. That's why. and he had to tear it up and get out of it. Look at the ramifications. As soon as he got us out of that agreement, they started enriching uranium at an alarming level. But you fast forward to now, and you've had to literally put our soldiers at risk by flying bomber missions, and now you think that those motherfuckers are going to that he says, okay, we bombed you, now we're gonna force you to come to the table. Yeah, right. When has that ever worked? When has any bombing campaign ever caused a regime change? I'll tell you when. Never. 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 So calculate. And by the way, those Houthis are still firing rockets into Israel. Remember the ones that he said he wiped out? All they proceeded to do was get people killed when they bombed the Houthis, because they haven't been able to use that patch of water to sail tanks through and all that shit, to sail tankers through. Yeah, and now they have closed off the Strait of Hormuz, I believe it's called. That's where all the oil from over there comes over here. So that's going to flip the world economy on its head. And now what? Oh, and you have the head of Iran getting ready to go meet with Putin. What a moron. This guy is a fucking moron. This guy's a moron. And you know why? All of this shit, right? Okay. He caused problems domestically first by having ICE raid workplaces. The operative word being work, right? We didn't have an appetite for that. All because of it, his parade was janky as fuck, number one. And number two, the guy that he chose to run around with, right? At the beginning of this shit, right? Elon, whatever you want to fucking call him, right? That guy has seen the videos of him abusing little girls. That's right. And they exist. And so he has to, first of all, he lit America on fire, and now he has to light the world on fire just so we'll forget about that. And MAGA's like, oh, we're disappointed now because we haven't seen the Epstein files. Why do they want to see the Epstein files? Why do they want to see the Epstein files? This guy was Epstein's bestie for decades. I mean, best friends. I live between him and where Epstein used to live. That's right. He lived less than a cab ride away from Epstein in Florida and in fucking New York. And he was his best friend. That's right. Look, the skies are starting to fall. All right, that's Griffey. You all know Griffey. Yeah, he doesn't do well with lightning. But anyway, so, hey, Griffey, enough. Griffey! Thank you. So, yeah, no, Griffey says hi. So, all of this, it's distraction. This and his tariffs are failing miserably, right? Because nobody wants to deal with him. And he knows that if he cuts trade relations with half of these places, right? We won't have what we need, and the stock market will crash. So, remember, okay, I want to say, okay, remember how he was supposed to stop, he was supposed to, all these campaign promises. I have to stop Kamala's assault on groceries. That's a fine word, groceries. This fucking idiot was mesmerized by the fact, right, that you could go to the grocery store, right, and buy food, toiletries, everything you needed for the house, right? Put them in one bag and call them groceries. He was mesmerized by the word. This fucking simpleton of an idiot was mesmerized by the word grocery. It's a fact. This is a fact. This functionally illiterate idiot, right? Okay, so now you have these maggots freaking out, right? This is not what we voted for. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's what you. This is exactly what you voted for. Okay. All right. By the way, now that they're running all these immigrants off these farms, MAGA, now's your time to shine. Now's your time to shine. Look at all the work for you. Look at all the work for you. Now, all you got to do, get on 4, right? Get on 4 in the hot sun, right? And start picking sweet potatoes. Yeah, 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 that's right. You dumb motherfuckers. I mean, what, you have to ask yourself, everything this guy does, everything this guy proposes, you have to ask yourself, what did you think was going to happen? I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong? Okay. Right out of the box. Canada, let's make Canada the 51st state. How's that work it out? Not a thing. Will never happen. Let's take the Panama Canal. Remember that one? Not a thing. Not going to happen. Let's sell Trump gold cards for $5 million per for people to come in. White South Africans came in. Where's my $5 million per? Where's my $5 million per? From those white South Africans, huh? 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 It's all bullshit. And tariffs, the best word ever. Blah 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 blah. Tariff this, tariff that, tariff this, tariff that. How's that working out? How's that working out? Nothing. Remember 90 deals in 90 days? What's up with that? Huh? Give me one deal. Give me something to work with here. Give me one deal. We don't have one. We don't have one because it's stupidity. It's stupidity. This is everything performative. Everything's performative. And the thing is that he always has to up his gamemanship, because at every turn, at every level, it's a failure. Now, remember when Biden was the president, right? And we had political debates about, whether we were spending too much money on us, with the infrastructure project, with the Inflation Reduction Act, how we had this government. This government was rolling. Our soldiers were, our veterans were being taken care of. Look at what this guy. Look at the distract. He's trying to distract the big heist. The big heist, and the fact that he's a pedo. The big heist. They call that fucking big beautiful bill. I don't like to call that. That's the big fucking heist, is what that is. Okay, the big heist. The massive transfer of wealth. And how are they going to pay for it? By cutting off essential programs. And all these, my FAFO videos are so good. They are so good because it's his people that, they call themselves, the ones that are getting FAFO now and saying, oh, I wish I didn't vote for him. Motherfucker, you had 5 and 10 years to study this guy. And all you needed was 5 and 10 minutes to study this guy. He's a moron. He's dumb as a box of rocks, and now he's senile. He's senile, and he's always been stupid. He's always been stupid, you know. But now he's fucking senile, you know, and he's easily influenced by the soup of the day, if you will. What he sees on Fox, right, is what he goes with that particular day. And you think that it's him putting out, because this is something that I've told Ben and them about, right? You know, you think it's him that puts out those tweets and all that stupid shit? No, no, he can't write. He can't read. He can't write. Have you ever seen him write anything other than scratch out his EKG? You know, his signature, it looks like his fucking EKG, yeah? Have you ever seen him write a memoir or something like that? No, no, no. All that idiot book that he wrote has a shadow writer, and the shadow writer regrets the day that he wrote that book, you know. But this guy, he's functionally, when I don't say it as a joke. He's functionally illiterate. That means he can't read or write. He sounds out fucking words. Didn't you see him last night? What the fuck is your... Huh? Huh? And you had him going in, you had a motherfucker that had a stroke on stage in fucking Saudi Arabia and Russia, a rippy to You know, the other day they played that, because now these fucking morons they were, believe it or not, they were in Congress, and they were saying they were trying to open up an investigation about quote unquote the Biden cover up. You can't make this up. You can't. Biden's gone. You know, no such thing happened. We saw him for what he was. They can't see him for what he is. You see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. He's seen, you know, Lawrence O'Donnell put it best. He is senile, right? How are we going to know whether he is going senile when he was stupid from the beginning? Right? Right? He was stupid. This guy's stupid from the get-go. Now it's raining here. But anyway, so we fast forward to this war, right? Because we're in a war. We're in a war. No matter how hard J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio come at you, right? We're in a war. They're trying to say we're not. What do you call sending our planes, our military, with bombs over there, dropping them and then leaving them? What do you call that? That is a war. We're in a war. We're in a fucking war. You know, and now, anybody that's on that side of the earth that has to do with us, our kids, our military, we're sitting ducks now. We're sitting ducks. It's not like they're at a fort in the United States of America. No, they're over there. They're over there, and they're visitors in a game, right? They're not the home team there. They're visitors. And the crowd is booing at them, okay? All right, because we don't even have the help of a coalition, because he didn't tell anybody. He didn't tell anybody that he was going to do this. He didn't even tell the Congress. He didn't even tell the Congress. By the way, last time I checked, that's against the Constitution. What are the Democrats going to do? Fucking impeach his ass. Impeach him. Who cares? Who cares if they don't remove him? Impeach him. And if that doesn't work, impeach him again and again and again. And again and again. Fuck it. Just once a month, impeach that motherfucker. I mean, there's enough crime to do it. All the way from him taking that airplane from Qatar, to disappearing people, to starting a war without notifying Congress because, they're out there saying this is not a war. This is not. It's a war. We're in a war, and that motherfucker Khomeini or whatever the hell his name is, right? That guy done said, "Hey man, no, we ain't talking anymore." They already they hit Israel again this morning, right? No, no, no. I don't. That's not my concern. Israel, it's not my concern. Sorry, not my concern. Because they've been fighting amongst each other like cats and dogs forever, and that's not going to change. That's not going to change with their religion and all their fucking nonsense. That's not going to change. But what I fear, right? What I fear is that our kids, our soldiers, are going to be collateral damage because now because of that idiot, right? They have it out for us, as in U.S. That's right. That's right. And who is us right now? The soldiers on the other side of the earth. Because here's the thing. You think fucking Lurch, that doofball Baron, you think he's gonna put on an army helmet and take a gun and go with a bayonet on the end and go fight? No, of course not. Of course not. He's a fortunate son. As a matter of fact, that's the song they were playing in the parade as a protest to his ass. That's right. That's right. And know what I can't get over is these idiot MAGAs saying, "Oh, that's not what we voted for. We voted for lower prices. America first." Well, what the fuck, man? Since when, you dumb motherfuckers? Since when has that guy, right, ever been anything first except for him? Never. Name an instance. I'll wait. No? All that motherfucker's done is lined his pockets with the grift. His golf courses would have been out of business if it wasn't for you, the taxpayer. Because every time he goes to one of those clubs, which is on a weekly basis, right? They jack the prices up and we flip the bill. That's right. That's a scam. That's a grift from the first presidency, right? That all of us here, it's turned into like a running, an old, tired joke, right? That when Stinky goes to Mar-a-Lago down the street, right? We're all like, yeah, there goes the grift again. That's right. All between that and him hawking all kinds of shit because, he wouldn't sell all that janky garbage if there wasn't a market for it. And these fucking idiot, racist crackers, fucking moron, MAGAs, they buy all that shit. Now, and from what I understand, the phones he has coming out, that shit I don't even think phones are going to come out, period. They're just trying to get the money in advance and then cancel the whole deal. That's the word here in Mar-a-Lago, around these parts. Is that's just give us the money and that's it. Now, you say, okay, well, if somebody didn't get services rendered or AKA took money, wouldn't they get in trouble with the law? Probably. But do you think that these bums, you think that Pam Bondi is going to bring a case against these bums? Yeah, that's right. But that's what you motherfuckers asked for. Now, you also have these MAGAs, right? Well, now you've destroyed free speech. You've destroyed our farmers. You've destroyed this. I didn't vote for that. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And I will never forgive you for that. That's right. As well they shouldn't, you fucking racist morons, you. That's right. That's right. And now, look at you now. Look at you now. Remember, no more forever wars. No more forever wars. War. Man, you would think that we would be 3 years and 6 months into this guy's term with all of this shit happening, right? We're only 6 months, not 3 years. 6 months. 6 months. Let me see. In 6 months, when Biden left, the stock market was, the Dow was trading at 45. Now it's at 42. And it was trading less than 40. And it went up to 42. So he calls that a win. Is that a win? Is that a win? What about the price of groceries? The price of eggs? Nothing's gone down. Is that a win? How about the fact that the rest of the free world despises us now and they think we're a joke because you can't blame them for lumping us normal people, into the way they look at the United States. Hell, there are countries with travel advisories on us. Just forget about 10 years ago. Just go back to last year. Last year, did you think that the rest of the free world was going to put travel advisories on the United States of America? Huh? I mean, you gotta ask yourself. You gotta ask yourself. That's why when I do posts, I find the posts all over the internet, and I post them. A little poster here, a little poster there, a little poster here, a little poster there. But a lot of the times, you'll find me saying, "Are we winning yet?" Remember, we're gonna do so much winning, we're gonna get sick and tired of winning. Again, give me something to work with. Give me one W. Give me, okay. Let's talk about Doge, for example. What did that do? Okay, a shitload of people lost their jobs, right? Because these computer geeks, they turned on their AI and they found ways to get rid of anything that had to do with a black person, anything that had to do with a woman, anything that has to do with a woman's program, a black person's program in this country. And anything that any agency that had to do with Leon. And then didn't another one of his janky rockets just explode? Yeah. And what I want to know is, you had all these MAGAs saying, where's the check? Where's the everybody, we're going to get a stipend. We're going to get $5,000. Where is it? Hell, Leon wouldn't even come in front of Congress because that shit was all a scam. And 100% of it was a scam. Waste, fraud, and abuse. My ass. My ass. Fuck you. Nonsense. Okay? That was just a fucking scam, right? It's just like this disastrous bill. It's a fucking scam. No tax on tips, no tax. Bullshit. 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 They want to try to give some kind of deduction after up until a certain amount. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. And at the same time, ruin government and make us more dependent on him. That's what this whole thing's about. It's a consolidation of power, right? And at the same time, taking away from the 98%, right? All these programs that are essential, that keep us going. SNAP, Medicaid, all that stuff. Who the fuck are they to tell us to get up off our asses and go work? You know? They owe their big donors. And that's all this is. That's all this is. Saving waste, fraud, and abuse, etc., etc., etc. Why is it that they want to lift the debt ceiling if they're going to save? Where's all this money going to come from? If you cut taxes for the people that have the money, right? That made the money off of our backs, right? Who? Where are we going to get this money? How are we going to make? How are we going to make this up? How are we going to make this up? By charging us more? Yeah, it's called a tariff. Who pays the tariff? We do. We do. And if you don't believe that, you're fucking stupid, you know? So, I got nothing for you when it comes to that. Now, I'm gonna close this out. We've been going for about half an hour. I'm gonna close this out at you know, you have to ask this, you have to ask yourself this question. Where does this bombing, this getting into this war, where does it end? When does it end? They asked him, they asked them, are you trying to do a regime change? Right? Which doesn't work. You can't bomb somebody into a regime change. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Ask those dudes in Vietnam. They fucking struggled. Yeah. No. We lost so many people in Vietnam, it wasn't funny. You know? And, you know, and at what point, when do we put boots on the ground? You know, because Stinky said yesterday that, you know, we bombed them, blah, 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 blah. And so now they have to come to the table, we're going to bomb them again. Does that sound logical to you? Huh? Or is it fucking ridiculous? You know, because that's another thing with these simple-minded fucking fools, right? They don't think a step ahead. No. I mean, now all of our bases over there are on high alert. High alert. We're sitting ducks now over there. Oh, you don't think that motherfucker can say, okay, all right, he's gonna round up all these Shiites and all these fuckers, right? And they're gonna be like, Allah don't like what they just did. And all that guy has to do is say Allah, and that's it. And that's it. Because those motherfuckers will go to war to the death. What do they have to, at this point, what do they have to lose? What do they have to lose? Huh? What do they have to, tell me. But anyway, what did you think was going to happen when you had that idiot Netanyahu going behind everybody's back and meeting with this idiot down the street at Mar-a-Lago and staying in his ear, pa 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 pa, and Fox in his ear, pa 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 pa. What did you think was gonna happen? What did you think? He bribed that motherfucker with $1 million, man. You know? It's a fucking criminal. It's a criminal. It's a pedo and a criminal, you know? But no. Mystifyingly, half of this country voted for that prick. I'm still mystified, you know? But anyway. Now what do we do? Now that's the question you ask yourself. Now what? Now what's your plan? He asked that fucking drunk. They asked that drunk Kegseth, whatever the fuck his name is. What do we do now? Tell me. What do we do now? Now that we've pissed off everybody over there, what do we do now? They got no answer. They got no answer. No, we're not in a war. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're in a war. You're in a hot war. So, talk about wait and see, 2 weeks and all this shit, right? Yeah, no. Pound them to the table. You hear how stupid that sounds? I bombed them to force them to come to the table. Yeah, right. Right. That's never worked. That's never worked. So, I'm telling you, this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Because they can't, Iran and them, they can't match us bomb for bomb, right? But you know what? What they do have, they have resolve. That's what they have, and that doesn't mean that they won't start throwing pipe bombs and IEDs on the roads and suicide bombings and all that shit, right? Yeah, they're crazy like that. That's right. They're fucking crazy like that. Excuse me. But you know, it's almost like a perpetual cycle, if you will. You know, they couldn't beat us in the skies, right? So they went after us with sleeper cells and all kinds of shit. Last time. And it's eerily familiar. We couldn't let them get. Iraq had nuclear weapons. Turns out they didn't. Now, Iran has nuclear weapons. According to his own person, Tulsi Gabbard, they don't have them. They don't have them. You know the only difference between Iraq and Iran? You know what it is? Iraq ends with a Q and Iran ends with an N. You understand? You understand? Same shit, same storyline, different year. That's right. So, I mean, this is, you know, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is right now, but is what it is isn't what it is yet. Yet. I mean, their shit's still smoldering. But at some point, it's going to stop smoldering. And those motherfuckers are pissed, all right? Yeah, well. And then you can't take this administration at its word because they're a bunch of fucking liars. You know? Like they say, how can you tell that Stinky's lying? Is when he's bumping his gums. So, anyway, you know, I just felt that I would, you know, come to you guys live because I don't hardly do this anymore. I felt I'd come to you live because this is a serious matter. I fear for our kids that are over there, you know, and I hope that nothing happens to them, but expect these bases and shit to get into a quagmire with these people, man. You know, because they can't beat us bomb for bomb, but they're not going to stop. They're not. This well enough has not been left alone here. So anyway, I'll probably drop a few funnies a little later on in the day, you know, and I want you guys to stay vigilant, you know, keep your eye on the prize, you know. Remember, you see any of these idiots ice on the street, which are, by the way, their morale's getting real low and they're running out of money. So you see an injustice like that going on, pop up your camera, picture it, videotape it, and post it. You know, we're fighting back and we're winning. We're winning. So, anyway, you guys take care. I say peace, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Take care. Bye. Love you.